Miss Transformers 96 here, it's another video review. This time we have a Hot Toys video, and this is an older figure. It is of the Dark Knight Two-Face Harvey Dent. So when I started collecting Hot Toys, there were 4 figures that had come out long before I started collecting, and they were just ones that I knew that I had to get eventually, and that was Two-Face, the Mark V Iron Man, Whiplash, and Scarecrow. So far, I'm lucky enough to have gotten 3 of those. Still need the Mark V, but now this checks off just one more of those boxes that I can finally say that I finally have Two-Face, so very happy about that. Quickly, just going over the box, wonderful box. I really love the design, the graphics on the box. The box itself is one of those opening door boxes. I've never been a big fan of that. I prefer just a shoebox or a slipcover, just something a little bit more easier, but that's just my personal opinion. The graphics, though, are wonderful. You've got a black, but with like a spotted red highlighting on the back, but then with the coin center. This is, of course, kind of the destroyed type of looking coin. Really wonderful look there. As well as it says, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. The famous quote from the movie. On the back, I usually don't show the back of the boxes or anything, but this I made an exception for because I absolutely love the back of the package. You get the 2 halves of his face, one evil, one good. I think it's some great graphics there, and this is a picture of the figure it looks like. So very cool. I really do love the graphics on this box. So there you go, a little bit lengthier portion of the box than I usually do, but this one I made an exception for because it does have some truly wonderful artwork on it. So yeah, so now let's go over the figure. Alright, so here's the figure, but before we go over the figure, let's go over his accessories. You obviously get the standard Hot Toys base with this figure. Back when in 2009 when this figure came out, this was definitely quite standard. Nowadays we're getting a lot more dynamic bases and everything like that. I prefer that sometimes they go back to the classic type of base, instead of giving us all these massive bases that we really just take up too much space and aren't necessary. So you do get a nice classic little stand here. Obviously works very well, and on the nameplate it doesn't pick one or the other. You do get Two-Face and Harvey Dent. Would have been kind of interesting and new if they did give you a removable nameplate so that you could switch it out to Two-Face or Harvey Dent, or just giving you 2 different stands, one with Two-Face, one with Harvey Dent. That would have been kind of cool, but this perfectly works and definitely looks quite nice. Alright, you get some very tiny accessories. As you can see, you get 2 coins and a button. I'm not sure, you might get more than 1 button or some other little small item. I don't think you do, but if you do get more than 1 button, that might be the case. I bought this loose off of eBay, and it came shown as pictured, so I'm not quite sure if you get any more buttons or anything, but I think that if you get any more accessories like this, they're all the same thing, just more of them, because I think there might be 2 buttons. I might be wrong on that. But as you can see, the button is quite nice. It says, I believe in Harvey Dent. You got the American flag at the bottom. Pretty standard, looks good. When you flip it over, very small, you do get like a sculpted type of pin, but it's not actually a pin. This is more for him just to hold, or I guess you can find a way just to glue it or tape it, or just find some non-permanent way to put it on his jacket. Although I don't believe in the movie he ever actually wore a button or had a button at all. But I think some people at the party, they might have had a button or something. So it's kind of a nice little accessory, not necessary whatsoever, but still very nice to get. You do also get 2 coins. One side, is the, Two-Face coin where it's, kind of dark, and the other side is more silver. From what I can see, there isn't any extra sculpting on it. It's kind of hard to say, though, because these are so small, but I don't think there's any other sculpting on it. I think it's just darker colors to make it look like the evil side. Overall, quite nice. I mean, these are so small. Just a little comparison here. Here's a 1-in-1 scale of his coin. So as you can see, that would be his actual coin, and this is his 1-in-6 scale counterpart. So it is a very small accessory, something that's pretty cool. I'm never gonna have him hold these coins. I would like him to hold the coin, but I'd always be worried that if it did accidentally fall out of his hand, that I'd just never be able to find it, and instead of taking that risk, I'm just gonna leave him without the coin. This coin, the bigger one, did come with the Movie Masters Two-Face. If you have that, that's a really nice accessory to pose him with. Just really quickly to show you, I've got one of these little stands, and I just prop the coin up and just put it right next to him. It does look quite nice, so I have to say that's a nice little option if you do have that item. But overall, these small accessories very well detailed and very small, so don't lose them, but they do look very nice. You do get a spare jacket with this guy, which is quite nice. You get one jacket that's completely clean, meant for the Harvey Dent, side of the figure, and then you get another jacket that is clean on one side and burnt and destroyed on the other side, meant for the Two-Face figure. So yeah, so as you can see, it's quite nice. I mean, I'll talk more about this when I go over the actual figure, but this is 2009 standards of Hot Toys, so because of that, it's more thick than they do now. Nowadays, they use much thinner material so that it lays better on the figures. This is the old style of material here. But overall, I mean, just as far as how it looks, just by itself is quite nice. The buttons are very nice on it. He does have 2 buttons here, and then just 4 buttons down here, and overall, they are put on very nicely. Now, I haven't had this figure for too long, but it was pre-owned, and the buttons are completely on mine. I would think that those you might have to be a little careful on so they don't pop off, but from what I can see, they're pretty stable on there. Overall, the actual material is quite nice. It's a little rough, it's definitely a thick kind of jacket, much thicker than they do in 2014 compared to 2009, so yeah. But I'll go more over that when I go over the actual figure itself, but it is nice that they give you 2 different jackets for the 2 different options, because I think that they could have just stuck with a Two-Face figure and didn't have to do the Harvey Dent extras, but they did those extras for good measure. So overall, I'm quite happy about that. Weapon-wise, you get his standard pistol. Overall, quite a unique weapon. He uses it throughout the movie, even when he's Harvey Dent, so you can use this even with your Harvey Dent figure, but of course this is meant to go more with the Two-Face. Overall, it does look quite nice. Coloring's good. It does have some movable parts. You can move this back piece, as well as the cylinder that holds the bullets does come out, and will rotate, although it's so small. And it's delicate. I'd be careful with that just so that you don't accidentally break it, because it is so tiny. But overall, looks very nice, I have to say. It's a nice weapon. He holds it pretty well. I'll go over that more when I go over the actual figure, though. But overall, it's a nice pistol. Alright, you do get a spare head sculpt of Harvey Dent if you want to, have your figure be Harvey Dent, because you do have the jacket, so you can completely make your figure Harvey Dent instead of Two-Face, which I think is quite a nice option. Now, this head sculpt it's alright considering it was made in 2009. I did watch a review before I did this review, where the review was back in 2009, and the person said, oh, how great the head sculpt was and everything. Nowadays, it's not so good, I mean, it's alright. You do get the sense of the likeness. I think it's quite good. I mean, it's 5 years old, and they've definitely made improvements. The hair, it's not colored perfectly. It kind of looks a little bit more fake, of course, and overall looks nice. They did kind of do like a bit of shadowing at the bottom to give him look that little slightly more rugged look at the bottom there, which I think is nice. That obviously got his chin pretty good. He's got a pretty unique chin. His eyes are another thing I don't like. They just look kind of fake. They look drawn on and not so, I kind of want to say clear like they do nowadays. I think that they really look a lot better nowadays. But like I said, this was an old style head sculpt, so for the time period, I think that it is quite nice. I would consider it very good for 2009. Nowadays, of course, not so much. But overall, it is great that they do give you the option to have a kind of separate figure to go along with your character, which is quite nice, I have to say. So now on to the figure itself. Before we talk about the outfit and everything like that, let's go over the face sculpt. So, this right side, his right side of his face, there's really nothing new to talk about. It's almost identical to the just the Harvey Dent head sculpt. A little comparison in there. Just about the same, really. Obviously, the only differences are just very slight ones that you'd see. Just a minor difference in paint-wise and everything like that. So overall, like I said, a very old-looking head sculpt compared to nowadays. But this side is definitely quite unique. We've got just chaos happening over here. Obviously, it is his complete burnt side. I think that they captured it quite nice for 2009, of course. I think that if they did this nowadays, it would look a lot better. But this side looks a lot better to me than Harvey Dent, I have to say, I think that this destroyed side, his evil side, looks a lot better than the actual Harvey Dent one. So with this head sculpt, the Two-Face head sculpt, I think that the head sculpt does hold up nowadays. I would, I'd be fine having this in my collection, of course. I think it looks very good. But but I would like to see an improved one. But overall, it's quite nice. I mean, the amount of sculpted detail is beautiful. They really sculpted it quite well. And I have to say, on the Harvey Dent side, the sculpting is all very well done. And the painting, because it's so odd, it doesn't look bad over here. But on Harvey Dent, because, you know, you're supposed to be making an actor, it you know, doesn't look perfect. But on this side, because you're really just making a CGI rendering into a physical item, it doesn't look as old-styled as the Harvey Dent side. So overall, I do really like this side a lot better. I like his teeth and how you can see his bone and his gums and everything. Really gross, and I think that they captured it quite well. I have to say, really well done. I really do enjoy that Two-Face head sculpt. I think that they did a great job, and the way that they mesh them together looks really nice, looks natural. They kind of, they didn't just kind of straight line it. They did, of course, you know, kind of mix in some of that darker charcoal gray, if you will, with the skin tone, and I think it does look quite nice. So overall, comparing the two head sculpts, I think that the Two-Face head sculpt looks a lot more up to today's standards, and definitely better than just the Harvey Dent side of the face, in my opinion. When we go down to the clothes, the design of the clothes is quite nice, but like I said, some old styling of clothes. With the tie, he has a bigger knot on the top of his tie than we'd see nowadays. It's a little, you know, when you compare his head size to this knot, it's just way too big and it doesn't really fit. But you know, nowadays we do have very smaller knots on the ties on our figures, so they look a little bit more natural. But overall, I do like the colors on the tie. I think it looks quite accurate. The burnt side of his jacket looks really nice. I think that looks pretty good. Like, you know, that stands up to today's standards, I'd say. I like that it's not burnt here at the bottom of his sleeve and everything. So that is quite nice. Like I said, with how, you know, the jacket's a little thicker, as you can see, it does kind of stand up in the back there. I would think that this should sit a little lower and not be so poofy up there, but that's just, you know, the old styling, the thicker jackets of 2009 figures. So yeah, but overall, I do like it. I mean, taking into consideration this came out 5 years ago, it's perfect. Now, if you just look at it today with the eyes of it should be up to today's standards, then of course you're gonna find a lot of problems with it. But other than that, find it really nice. Pants are very good. I think that they look quite nice. They're being a thicker material doesn't hinder the look of it at all, so I think it looks fine. Shoes, they're quite plain. I think that nowadays we put more detail into our shoes. As far as the figures, they're just really all one color, and it's just a very shiny metallic kind of black. But overall, you know, it's fine. And then we go up to the hands. He comes with a relatively small amount of hands. He comes with a right hand for holding the pistol, a left hand for holding the pin or coin, and then he comes with two relaxed palms. So overall, I would have liked to see some more hands. The hand color is a little bit too pale. It's not as detailed as today's hands are, so that is a shame. He holds the gun fairly well. It's just, it's not like, he doesn't have a super good grip on it. I would have liked him to have a better grip. The hinge does work really nice on his wrist though, so you can really get a nice range of movement on that wrist of that hand though. And then on this side, you do have like the cut where they put on the thumb. That's another thing that nowadays they really would just mold it all together so that there wouldn't be any two separate parts or anything. As you can see, I think it's sculpted quite nice. Still has the same color issue. I don't think that the color is quite as realistic as we do nowadays. And overall, would work really nice with the coin or pin. So yeah. So overall, as far as the figure goes, my overall opinions are it's a really great figure when you take into account that it's older. If you know, like I said, if you look at it through today's, or you compare it to today's standard of figure, it's definitely going to fall in a lot of areas as far as tailoring and painting on the facial you know, expression and hand coloring and everything like that. It's definitely way down below our standards for today, but if you take into account that it's an older figure, it is really wonderful. And I think back in 2009 this would have been a really great figure, I have to say. Overall, I'm extremely happy with it, and before I go, let's get you some more comparisons with Dark Knight villains. Alright guys, I went all out. You know, at first Joker was a little hard to get to. I didn't know if Catwoman was necessary, but I said screw it. I'm putting them all out, so here you go. Here you have all the Batman villains. Whether you consider Catwoman a villain or not, here she is included. You know, just what the hell, Hot Toys. We need Ra's al Ghul. Once we get Ra's al Ghul, this will be great. But for now, I'm pretty darn happy. I think that they all look quite spectacular together. Really do love that. I'm going to take a picture, put it on Instagram so you guys can see. It looks wonderful. So, like I said, Two-Face, really wonderful addition to your collection. I mean, he fits in with these guys. You know, Scarecrow's a little older, but Joker, Bane, and Catwoman are all new figures, and he holds his own. He really fits in with them and just looks great. He really is needed for a Dark Knight villain collection. I'm a big villain fan. You guys should know that by now. So you know, it was an absolute must-have for me. I got him at a wonderful price, I have to say. I paid $140 for that figure, and they sent an extra True Type body with it. So that was something that wasn't listed or anything, but I was super stoked because I need an extra body to do a Electro custom that I'm going to do, you know, in like March. So I'm very happy. I mean, I paid $140 for this guy. I would pay double that, you know, with that body and everything. It's totally worth it. So overall, incredibly happy. And just really quite wonderful. I'm loving this display. I don't want to shut the camera off because this is just such a nice shot. But yeah, so overall, that is my review of the Hot Toys Two-Face / Harvey Dent figure. Tell me what you guys think of it if you already have it, and if you guys want it, let me know. I'd like to hear your opinions on it. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm out of here.